Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's Mr. Claps back at it again. So we were doing part two, like 2 hours ago, right? And I checked back on the first part of What If Naruto was blessed, and I looked at it, and I got 89 views, which is it's that's crazy. Like that is crazy. And so if it gets to 100, I will like even though I got 10 subscribers. Like I don't know how I have 10 subscribers, but it has 89 views. But like if that gets to 100 next week, I'm triple uploading every single day until the next week. So y'all gonna see a lot of bangers come out. And matter of fact, I'm gonna triple upload today because I literally just saw that. So if y'all missed the what if with what if Naruto was what's the names was Merlin's and Escanor's son, well then y'all gonna be seeing it again today. And yeah, let's hop into the video, bro. So yeah, I remember Naruto, he like the god that gave him like his super abilities or whatever. The god that gave him his super abilities or whatever, like went in Naruto's body and gave him way more power. And now Naruto has a whole bunch of like he can, let's just say he can switch eyes. Like he has multiple eyes now. He has a cat. But I always get this cat. I'm gonna punch myself for getting this. It's like it's not eyes, like not like clan eyes. I forgot what it's called. Don't roast me, alright? And so like last episode we were talking about how Naruto got like a god got put in Naruto's body. Its spirit was in Naruto, and now Naruto is like way stronger than he was, even though he was already that strong. And Naruto, he went to sleep, obviously. And then Naruto woke up the next day, and he hurried up and put on his clothes and then, oh yeah, I forgot, never mind. He hurried up and ran out of the door, put on his shoes or whatever, and then body flickered to the Hokage's office. And he told the Hokage everything that happened. And the Hokage was like, we need to run some tests on you. And then Naruto's like, I don't think that's going to happen, Mr. Hokage. And then he said, Naruto, we need to know what this is. And then Naruto said, well, you're not going to touch one piece of me. And then the Hokage said, Naruto, I know your dad wanted me to protect you, but Naruto, you need to cooperate with the village. We need to know what power you hold. He said, for what, huh? So you can use me as a weapon? And he's like, what do you mean, Naruto? He's like, and then Naruto's like, well, I'm basically already be used as a weapon, but that's for my own will. And if I get forced to do something that I don't want to do, I'll kill you. And then the Hokage was like, Naruto, calm down. That's not what I'm asking you to do. And then Naruto said, okay then. And then Naruto walked out of the Hokage's office, mad. Then Naruto went home, and he went downstairs where his workout area was, but he didn't start working out. You know the punching bag he obliterated? Since there was no punching bag, let's just say he bought a metal wall and started punching the metal wall. Like it was metal. And he just kept punching it. And then when he punched it, all you heard was ding, ding, ding. Like swords or something were colliding. Like some type of metal was colliding. And the first Hokage's daughter, her went downstairs to see what that was, and she saw Naruto punching a metal wall. She was like, "What are you doing, Naruto?" And then Naruto didn't respond as he kept punching it. And then she just went upstairs and wondered what was wrong with Naruto. And Naruto, he was kind of mad. And then he calmed down. He said, he kept breathing like, he said, I need answers from this God. And then the God said, I'm in your mindscape now. I will be able to see you and talk to you. And he was like, oh, so you're here? And he said, yes, Naruto. And then Naruto was like, how can you communicate with me if I'm not even in your mindscape? And he was like, well, I am a god after all. And then Naruto said, oh, well, okay. And Naruto went in his mindscape, seeing the god. He looked at the god and said, what do you actually look like? Why is something always glowing in front of you? And he said, I do not want you to know. It is kind of private and sacred to me. Yeah. Just like this. And as Naruto put in some chalk in his sand and saw the big thing and and pulled out his katana, like the big large katana or whatever. And he was like, yes, and I can see that it's very sacred to you. He's like, how do you know that? And then he was like, well, because I'm a god and I keep track of every single person in the world. Then Naruto said, what does that mean? Well, I keep track of how many people you have killed, how strong you are, and how many good deeds you have. And then he said, Naruto, you have did a lot of good deeds. You know those jails? You freed 0 criminals and a lot of innocent people. And then Naruto said, yeah, well, what? And then he was like, whoa, you know that girl upstairs? He was like, yeah, her. And he was like, well, she's kind of into you, and I can tell you kind of like her as well. And he was like, okay, but if you can talk to other people, don't tell her that. And then the god said, well, I can't promise that. I'm kind of on Earth right now to bring people together. And then Naruto said, you're in my body. How can you get in the outside world? Well, I can disengage myself from you anytime I want, and I can re-engage. He said, what do you mean? He said, well, I can go out of your body anytime I want, and I can come back in anytime I want. And Naruto said, that's kind of creepy. Then he was like, well, creepy or not, I can still do it. He said, my body, but why did you pick me out of all people? Well, because you're the person I picked. And you know how a lot of tragedies happen to you. Like, you've been, And he said, yeah, I picked people like you who, are weak and are clueless, right? Mm-hmm. And are clueless. And then Naruto said, well, I'm not the clueless kid I once was. And he said, that's why I picked you. You have got worthier. People with my power usually abuse it. But you got smarter and used it for good. And Naruto said, well, that's just kind of the person I am. And then Naruto was rubbing his head as he was still kind of confused. And he said, well, anyways. And then Kurama, he roared at them and said, shut up, I'm trying to get some sleep. And then the god was like, stop it, Kurama, I am basically your father, so shut up, and laid back down. And then Kurama was like, no, you are not my father. And then the god turned into like a bigger Kurama. And he turned into like a way bigger Kurama. He said, huh, who's who's your father? He said, what? And then he was like, how do you have my father's body? Get out of it right now. And then he said, well, I am your father. And he was like, that's weird, you weirdo. And then he was like, I should have never gave you talking powers. Then Naruto left his mindscape and said, I'll leave that alone. That's kind of weird. And then the god screamed, I can hear you, I'm in your head. And then Naruto was like, yeah, I already know that. And then Naruto was like, well, that was a weird family reunion. And then Kurama and the god both screamed, and Naruto said, this was not a reunion. And then Naruto said, yeah, okay. And when Naruto was going up his stairs, he was kind of confused, and the whole day, he went in his room and then watched TV and stuff. And then he heard somebody knock on the door. And he went out of his room and opened the door, and it was Hinata and Lee. And then they asked, then they asked if they come in, and Naruto said, sure. Then they asked, well, you want to go on a mission? And then Naruto said, why didn't you just tell me from the door? And they said, well, it's kind of weird. And then Naruto was like, well, if it's weird, then I don't want to hear it. And then they told him the mission. He said, that is a mission I cannot do. And then they were like, why, Naruto? You're our strength. And Naruto was like, well, because it's a mission. But I don't think that. As he was stuttering, and they left, and then somebody knocked on his door. And when he saw it, it was just a random person that he didn't know. But obviously, it was Sasuke. Then he was like, oh, what's up? And no, that's not what he said. And then Sasuke was like, what's up, Pipsqueak? He said, I told you I'll get you revenge on you. And then Naruto was like, oh, chill. And then Sasuke pulled Naruto outside. Naruto was like, what do you want? And then Sasuke said, come here, I gotta show you something. He said, and then Naruto said, this is a setup. And the reason why he knew is because he sensed two other people's chakra. And he was like, oh man, this is not gonna be fun, man. And he was like, I wanna do this to my own ninja. And then Sasuke felt Naruto's chakra raise. And Naruto did this on purpose. And then Naruto was like, so you're going to take it away. And then Sasuke said, you think I'm going to do that? And then Naruto was like, let's go to a private ground. And then they went to that private ground. And then two other people came down from like a gate or whatever and said, and it was Sasuke's dad and Itachi. The massacre didn't happen yet, that's what I'm saying. And so Naruto was like, you really want to feel the wrath of Naruto Uzumaki. And then they were like, yes. Then Naruto was like, well, let's get a little bit skeptical. My actual name could be Naruto Uzumaki Uchiha, Shinju, and then he just kept going and said every single one of the clan names. And then they were like, "Ha, stop playing with us, kid." And then Naruto switched his eyes and looked at Itachi and Sasuke's dad. And then they looked at his eyes and just saw the Rinnegan, then the Byakugan. And then his eyes just kept changing to every single one of the eyes. And then he used every single one of their other things, like the Senju blades or whatever. I mean, kunai or whatever. Like all of that stuff. And how like the somebody could use the bones as weapons. So I'm talking about like that stuff. I forgot what it's called though. Like I'm pretty sure. I don't know if it starts with K. I forgot it. Like I'm so dumb. And he used his whatever what I was just saying. And then they were like, "What are you?" And then Naruto said, "I'm nothing." And then they said, "We can still beat you." And then Naruto said, "Whatever." And then they all ran at Naruto from 3 different sides. Naruto jumped up in the air and used his Rinnegan. And then he turned on his Byakugan, punched the ground really hard, and it made some smoke. He went underground before they could activate their stuff. Then he saw Sasuke blindly running in smoke. Because right when he went in, he did 360 spin really fast so he could know what was going on. And then he saw Sasuke running in the smoke blindly. And Naruto said, "Got you." Grabbed Sasuke's foot from the ground, dragged him down, and then knocked him out with a single punch. And then Itachi activated his Mangekyo Sharingan and saw that somebody was in the ground knocked out. And he was like, "Ha, Sasuke already got him." And then he was like, "What?" And then he realized that wasn't he realized that wasn't Naruto. He was like, "Oh no." Sasuke got. And then Sasuke's dad said, "Oh, I knew that boy was too weak." He said, "I knew that boy was too weak." Right when he said right when he said the first part of the word, he got absolutely knocked out by Naruto kicking him right in the face. And then Itachi was like, "Oh, so you're pretty strong, kid." Then Itachi threw a punch. Naruto said, "You shouldn't be doing that," as he teleported behind Itachi, kicking him in the back. And then Itachi cracked his knuckles and said, "Oh, so you're a strong one. Why don't you just use your hands?" And then he was like, "You don't want me to use my hands? That's way worse than my actual jutsu." And then the god was like, "Naruto, stop it." And Naruto was like, "Why? They're trying to fight me." And then Naruto said, "I can't get out of here. This place is top security. The only place I can get out of here is through the dirt. And if I do get out through the dirt, I will have to break cement." And then the ancient goddess said, "Okay, but just don't hurt them too bad." And then Naruto said, "They don't have any blood on them. They're just knocked out. They're unconscious." Then the god was like, "Okay, but I'm putting this on you like that." And he was like, "Come on." And then the god said, "Nope, I'm putting this on you like that, Naruto." Oh, God. And then Naruto, Itachi ran at Naruto. Then Naruto he dodged and he teleported really quickly behind him, punching Itachi twice, sending Itachi flying into a gate, knocking him out. And then Naruto hurried up and got out of there. And a random Uchiha saw the whole fight and told some of the other Uchihas. And the Uchiha said, "This kid will pay." And then Naruto was walking home when he heard a girl scream. And he said, "That's coming from my house." And I think, oh God, I think I know that voice. He hurried up and ran to his house. And he opened the door and saw five Uchihas. Five Uchihas. He saw one like standing over a girl tied up. And Naruto was like, "Oh no." Then he saw five other Uchihas with their Sharingans activated. He was like, this is not, oh God. And he was like, "What have I done?" And Ichigo said, "I put this on your record as well, Naruto." And then Naruto was like, "This is not the time." Then Ichigo was like, "Sorry, Naruto, but I have to put that on your record." And then Naruto was like, "Oh, who fucking cares?" And he said, "I'm doing that on your record also." Then Naruto punched his wall. Then Naruto activated his Rinnegan. And they were like, "He has a Rinnegan, sir. We have to get out of here." And then he was like, "He's just a weakling." And then he was like, "But that's our fellow Uchiha." And then the guy who told them was like, "That is not a fellow Uchiha. I watched the whole fight through." And then he's like, "Okay, then. If he's not a Uchiha, then we have to kill him." And then Naruto was about to use a jutsu. He said fire style jutsu, and flames were in his hand. And then one of the guys said, "This will make consequences. I have a bat here. I'm gonna beat the girl up." And then Naruto said, "Don't do that." And then he said, "And plus, you could burn your house down, and you could possibly kill the girl." And Naruto said, "I'll never let that happen. I'm aiming for you, scumbags." Then he was about to hit the bat on the Hashirama's daughter leg, and then Naruto teleported and hit and grabbed the bat, and then the other guy right behind Naruto hit him in the shoulder with bat or whatever, and then Naruto's like, "Yeah," and then Hashirama's daughter was like, "Let him go," and then Naruto was like, "It's okay," and Naruto was taking like a serious beating, and he kept getting hit in his shoulder by the guy, and Naruto said, "Stop," and then he finally grabbed the other one, and then he grabbed both of their bats, smacked them dead in their heads, making their heads bleed, knocking them out. And then Naruto said, "I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. You expect me to live like this with a broken arm?" And then Naruto healed himself and said, "Well, it's not broken anymore, but anyways." As he pulled out, he put his hand and he put some chakra in his hand, and the sword, and then the katana appeared. And then there was like, "That's the legendary ancient sword." And then their henchman ran off. The guy's henchman ran off. And then the one guy was still there, the boss or whatever, and then he deactivated his hand from his chakra. And he was like, water style jutsu. And then he was like, and then that guy was like, "Huh, who are you talking about water style? Huh, you cannot use it on me. You're an idiot." And then let's just say it was a sink behind them. There was a sink behind them with water running down. Then Naruto, he made like a bullet out of it and said, "Bullets." He said, and then he said, "Water style. Bullet." And then a bullet came straight to that guy's back, hitting a bullet through his back, and it went straight through into Naruto's wall. Then that guy fell down, and Naruto healed him and said, "Get out of here." And then he was like, "Why would you heal him?" And then Naruto said, "I don't want that on my record." Then the guy ran off saying, "I don't know what that means, but thanks." And then he was like, "I don't know why you said thanks. That's kind of a weird thing to do." And then the ancient god said, "Well, I'll take that murder off of your list." Then he ended up and got Hashirama's daughter out of the thing, and then she hugged Naruto and she said thank you. And then Naruto said no problem, and then she said no, that was a big problem. And then Naruto said, "I really don't expect it as a big problem." And then the girl kissed Naruto, and Naruto was like, what was that for?" And she said, "My appreciation." Naruto was like, "Yeah, well, okay." And then she said that she had liked Naruto anyways. And Naruto said, "Should I shoot my shot here, Kurama?" And then he went in his mindscape and said, "Wait, I'll be back." Then he went in his mindscape and asked the god in Kurama should he, ask her or whatever. And Kurama said, "I really don't care." And the god said, "Yes, yes indeed." And then Naruto said, "Well, I kind of like you anyway, so could we go out for some ramen?" And she said, "Yeah." And Naruto, I told you I was going to work on the ship last episode. And Naruto was like, "Oh, well, okay." And then they went out for some ramen. And then what did I say? Hinata was walking down the street and saw those two talking, and she sat down and said, "Also Naruto." And then Naruto said, "Oh, hey." And then Naruto was like, "Well, this is kind of an awkward time." Then she said, "Why?" And then Naruto was about to say, "Well, I'm not going to tell you this." He said, "Well, I can't really tell you right now." And then Hashirama's daughter said, "Well, we're dating." And Naruto was, he put his mouth shut, and Hinata got up out of her seat, got up out of the seat that she sat in and left. Naruto was like, "Dang it." Naruto was like, "Dang it, but I don't know why she's so mad. Aren't Lee and her together anyways?" And Naruto was like, "I'll try to make it right tomorrow." And then she said, what's her name said that she was tired, Hashirama's daughter. And Naruto said, "Yeah, okay." And then they left. Naruto, he thought about it for a little bit. Then he went to sleep. And he thought nothing of it. And then the next day he woke up and was like, "Wow, that was kind of awkward yesterday." And then he told Hashirama's daughter that he was going out to, talk about the thing that happened yesterday with his friend. She said, "Yeah, that's okay, but just don't make it too long." And Naruto said, "Yeah, okay." And Naruto ran off and told Hinata everything that went on. Then Naruto asked, "Aren't Lee and you dating?" And then he said, "Well, I caught Lee and Ina kissing." And then Naruto was like, "Oh." And then Naruto got kind of mad. Then she was like, "Why are you mad, Naruto?" And then Naruto was like, "No reason." Then he acted like he was going home, but he was really going to Lee's house. And then he asked Lee, why would he do that? And then Lee said, I really didn't care about her. And then when Lee said that, he kind of made Naruto mad. And then Naruto got mad. And he balled up his fist. And then Lee was like, chill, man. I didn't mean to hurt her feelings. And then Naruto was like, yeah, real nice excuse. As he punched Lee right in the stomach. And he was like, ah, and what was that for? As he was falling to the ground, going to sleep. Well, not going to sleep, but you know what I mean. Slump. Naruto slumped my mans. And you know how his punches hurt very much? That's why he got knocked out. Like, obviously, his punches hurt. Like, I would say he probably killed Lee and probably killed the Uchiha guys. Because I literally said he obliterated a punching bag and made it turn into ashes. But I'm not going to do that. And then that D-head, and he was like, I just straight up messed up, man. And Naruto went back home, and he's like into walking down the street, but he just kept walking. And then she said, I heard something about Lee. What happened? Naruto said, oh, about that guy. Really nothing. And then she was like, something went on. I can tell. Naruto said, what do you mean? Nothing went on. And then she said, Naruto, what did you do? And Naruto said, what do you mean? I didn't do nothing. And she said, stop talking to me, Naruto. And then Naruto said, I knocked him out. That's what I did. She said, why? And then Naruto said, he gave me a stupid explanation. And then she was like, okay, I guess. And then he went to his house, and then Hashirama's daughter was looking like Kakushna, like mad as ever at the door. And then Naruto said, why are you so mad? And then he said, Naruto, I said it wouldn't take long. And she was like, Naruto, you said it wouldn't take long. Naruto said, well, that was because blah. And then Naruto, and then he said he was like, because she picked up a pan right next to her, and Naruto was like, ah! He was screaming, and he ran out of the house. He was like, what's wrong with you? And then she was like, what did you do? And then Naruto was like, I'm serious, nothing. And then she was like, I believe you. And then the Asian guy said, well, she's just like your mom. And then he said, you know my mom? And then she said, I forgot, you know all people. Of course you do. And then the guy said, yep, that's me. And then Naruto was like, well, that was weird. This was a weird day. And then he said, I should go pay a visit. And then the ancient god said, what are you going to do, Naruto? You already got something put on your record. Then Naruto was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Naruto said, well, he did have a bad explanation, so you can't really blame him. And he said, I would have just talked with words. Then Naruto was like, well, that probably wouldn't have worked. Because, I kind of got mad at my fist was balled up. Plus, I could tell in his eyes he wanted to do something. But he was kind of, thinking himself back away. But right when I punched him in the stomach, I saw that his fists kind of were squeezing, like, really hard. So I could tell he was going to try to punch me. And it wouldn't have worked out well. So either way, I would have still knocked him out. Then the ancient god said, I saw that too. And then Naruto said, so you really can't blame me. He's like, I can blame you all when I'm the ancient god. And then he was like, just because you're an ancient god doesn't mean nothing. And then the ancient god said, I could change his personality like this. he was gonna be happy. Then Naruto said, "Why didn't you do it for me, huh?" He was like, I never really thought about that. And then he was like, really? And then Naruto, he just chilled out. And he was like, oh yeah, I forgot. I gotta go check on Lee, say, you know. And then he body flicked to the hospital. And he said, and then he asked Lil Gaze to go see Lee. And then Lee was up. He was like, he was conscious again. And then Lee said, what did you knock me out for? And Naruto said, sorry about that. And then plus you give me a stupid explanation of why you did it. And Lee said, yeah, kinda did. And then Naruto said, and plus I could see you were mad. And I knew you were about to punch me. Plus, it would have ended up bad anyways. Except Mr. Enchigada here would have changed your personality. And he was like, wait, huh? And Naruto said, nothing. And then the guy was in his head screaming like, what did you just call me? And he was like, I am the Ichigan. Respect me. And then Naruto just kept ignoring him and said, oh, that's kind of my fault. And then he said, bye anyways. And then he left. And then Naruto was like, yeah, I kind of did do him kind of rough on the edges. And then the Ichigan was like, on the edges? And then he was like, okay, I kind of did him rough overall. Then Naruto went back to the house, and Naruto, he went downstairs and started punching the wall again. And then she heard him punching the wall and said, what are you punching that wall for, Naruto? And Naruto said, it's my new punching bag. And Hashirama's daughter said, punching bag? Naruto was like, yeah, since I obliterated the first one, I got a new wall, but it's way stronger. Well, it's not necessarily a bag, but there's still something I can punch. And he said, why don't you just punch all those bad guys? And he said, well, I'm not really going on missions right now, so. And then right when he said that, he heard a door bust open and said, they're coming. And then he was like, huh? No, I mean, not that. He was like, they were screaming. There was a whole bunch of people screaming outside. And he heard it and was like, no, what is going on? And then he was like, he whatever, like, I don't know what I'm going, like, I don't know what her name's gonna be, but I'll say what her name is. He said her name, like, I don't even know what her name should be. He said her name and was like, get down here and stay down here. And then she said, wait, what? And then Naruto said, move the big giant metal wall and then put it back in place. And then she said, okay. And then she moved the big giant wall and saw like a safe, but it was a door. And then he said, the password is 22222. And then she was like, how many twos is that? And Naruto said, I don't know, I think it's 6. And then she was like, no, I think it's 5. And Naruto said, well, I'm gonna press the re-put answer. Oh God. And then he was like, well, just never mind. And then he ran back down there and put his eye up to the thing, and then it was like a voice and said, hi Naruto. And then he was like, whatever, that's just my voice recognition, eye recognition or whatever. And then he said, go in there, I'll move the wall back. And then he heard him move the wall back and ran upstairs. He was like, what's up going on? And then he was like, and then somebody said, the Uchiha are trying to kill us. And then Naruto said, God dang Uchiha scum. And then the Uchiha were like, I think this was a bad idea. You know what that kid was talking about? You know that one kid? He basically beat 5 of the best Uchihas. And then they were like, well, they were just thugs. And then it was like, but they were really good Uchihas. One of them were even one of the best and biggest thugs of the Uchiha clan. And he was like, wait, he beat that guy? And he said, yes. And they're like, I know exactly who you're talking about. And then they're like, I don't think we should be doing this. And then Sasuke's father said, just keep trying, just keep going. And then Naruto came out and slaughtered half in 2.2 seconds. And then some of the Uchihas just saw bodies of the Uchiha drop, and they were like, what the WTF just happened? And then they were like, what happened? And then Naruto teleported behind one of them that was saying, what happened? And he was like, I happened, and killed them. And then the god was like, stop it, Naruto. You're gonna go to the place. And then Naruto said, what place? This is for my village. They're going crazy. It's not. And then Naruto said, talk it out, okay? And then he's like, okay, talk it out. And then the ancient god said, that is like at least 100 guys on your list. And he said, come on, man. I don't want to go. And he was like, you might have to. And then what they were talking about was the place, you know, Hell. But anyways, and then I said, okay, all the Uchihas, and he was screaming, and he said, stop. And then they were like, ha ha ha. And then Sasuke's dad was like, ha, you think we're gonna stop? And then all the Uchihas said, we're going. And then all the Uchihas said, sir, we have to stop. That kid is very much danger. And he was like, I know that, but we can beat him. And then they were like, he even beat you. And then he was like, what do I care? And then I was like, God, this is not going to be fun. And then the ancient god said, well, I'll let you slack it off because they didn't want to talk. And he said, can't you just change their personality or whatever? I don't want to keep doing this. And the ancient god said, no, I was just bluffing about that. He said, bluffing for what? And then he said, I don't know. I just didn't want you to do it again. And he was like, yes, he did. Then Naruto, he was rubbing his head like, oh, what is this? And then he activated his Rinnegan. He hurried up and ran and killed 50 more of the people. And then he used his Rinnegan to teleport behind every other single Uchiha. And then he was like, this is really bad. And then we saw Itachi, Sasuke's dad, and Sasuke. And he was like, you guys again. And then he was like, well, it's at least two people who can change, but one of them can't. And then Sasuke and Itachi was like, we know who you're talking about, and we cannot change. And then Naruto said, you can change, all you have to do is think about it. Until you might not be able to change it. Itachi just shut his mouth. Then he said, but I know one person can change. And he's around the same age group as me. And then Sasuke said, I will never change. And I know who you're talking about. And Naruto says, and then he teleported behind Sasuke's dad. And then Naruto said, look away, Sasuke. And Sasuke said, don't do it. Then Naruto grabbed his katana. He threw Sasuke's dad up in the air. He picked chakra in his hand and his katana appeared. And when Sasuke's dad was coming down, he was trying to like do a cool landing. He was about to try to block Naruto's katana. And Naruto was like, that's not gonna work. You're just gonna get your arm cut off. So I don't know what's all this fussing is about. And he said, how do you know? He said, hello, Rinnegan. And he was like, well. And then Sasuke's dad said, well, bye, son. And he said, bye, son. And Itachi, take on my legacy. And then Itachi was like, no, father. And then Naruto He said, I do not want to see it. He closed his eyes and he swung his katana. And then all you heard was sing, sing. Like it was like it just like just whatever somebody. And then you heard Itachi feel like you heard somebody crying and it was Itachi. And Naruto opened back up his eyes. He was like, oh god, yes, I didn't have to see it. Then he ran up to Sasuke and he teleported in front of Sasuke and said, change. And then Sasuke said, I will never. And then he teleported in front of Itachi and then he said, change, Itachi. And he was like, how do you know my name? And then he was like, I might change the face of the Uchiha. And then Naruto, I will bring back all of the Itachi fellows. And he was like, what do you mean? You already did. And then Naruto said, special healing spell. Reevaluate. And then he said, the Uchiha family. And then every single one of the Uchihas rose. And he said, except for that guy. And he pointed at what's his name? He pointed at Sasuke's dad. And they were like, please bring him back. And then Naruto said, okay. And then he brought him back. He brought every single one of them back. And then the ancient god said, I would change their personality forever. And Naruto said, I think he couldn't do that. And then the ancient god said, I actually bluffed again. He was like, really? You wanted me to do that? And then the ancient god said, I really don't see that much action. He was like, come on, you're supposed to be a god. And then he was like, sorry. And then he was like, come on, man. And then the god was like, okay. And then he was like, you're supposed to be a god. Aren't you supposed to avoid violence? And the god said, I never made any promises. And then the god said, okay. And he changed all the Uchiha's personalities and everybody. And then he said, revive. And then he said, revive. And then he pointed at like 5 villagers because only 5 villagers got killed. He wouldn't say that because Naruto was way too quick. And then Naruto said, that was crazy. Yeah. Naruto said, what a roller coaster. And then let's just say Naruto did all of that in 10 minutes. Let's just say that. Let's just say Naruto did all of that. 15, actually. And Naruto said, that's longer than I expected. I usually do fights in at least a second. That was way too slow. And then Itachi, and then all of these, he all said a second. And then Naruto said, isn't it the same as you? And then he was like, yeah, it's definitely the same as they were. And then Naruto said, I can tell that's sarcasm. But anyways. And he just walked off. And he went back inside. And then then Hashirama's daughter, was still downstairs. And then you just heard the voice, from the voice for his, and then Hashirama's daughter was trying to get out of the thing, and it was like, you are not Naruto, denied, and they just kept saying denied. And Naruto was like, oh yeah, I kind of forgot. And then he ran downstairs and put his eye up to the thing, and then it said denied, and then it said, hello Naruto, and then she was like, finally he got you. Hey yo, my place haunted. Knock him out, bro. What was up with that? Hold up. No, nothing happened. What was that? No. And then I forgot what I was saying. He opened up the thing. And he was like, "Thank you, Naruto. Like, can you install my eyes to this thing? I do not want to do this all day." And Naruto was like, "Yeah." Then Naruto was there for like an hour. Now let's just say he went flash mode and installed it in like a second. But for him, it was like 2 hours. And he was like, "That's long." And then she was like, "Long? That was only 2 seconds." And he was like, "Huh? I guess. That was fast." And then he was like, "Anyway, so I'm gonna be going upstairs." And I was like, "Sure." And Naruto was like, and then Naruto was like, "That was a lot out there." And then Naruto heard a knock on the door. He went upstairs, and it was Ino and Lee. And then Ino was like, "I heard you said Lee." And then she threw a punch at him. And then Naruto dodged, but behind him was Hashirama's daughter. And she caught what's her name's punch. What was he caught Ino's punch. And then she was like, and then Hashirama's daughter was like, who is this girl? And then Naruto said, "Yeah, you guys get to introduce yourselves." Then they started talking, and then Lee was like, "Huh, while they're occupied talking." And then in the background, he was like, and then in the background, all you heard was, "Hi, girl." And then it was like, "Let's talk about some tea." And then Naruto and Lee was like, looked behind them and just saw them talking with some tea. And they were like, "How did they get that so fast?" And then Lee saw the perfect opportunity to try to punch Naruto. And then he dodged, and Naruto dodged. And then he was like, "What are you doing?" And he punched Lee. Then Lee like flew back. Then Lee was like, "Ah." And then they looked, and then they were like, "What's going on?" Then they saw Lee and Naruto fighting. And then Hashirama's daughter was like, "I don't think you want to do that, Lee." And Lee was like, "Huh." And then was like, "I don't think Naruto should be doing that." And then you just saw Naruto do 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 like a backflip, and he just kept backflipping because Lee was trying to hit him. And then Naruto said, "I could beat you with my pinky if I wanted to." And then he was like, "Let's see." And then he used his pinky and then like stabbed Lee's shoulder with his pinky. And then Lee was like, "Ah, ah," and started screaming. Then he was like, "Oh, my fault. Did I break your arm?" And he was like, "You fudging bit." And then he was like, and then was like, "Lee is really weak." And then Hashirama's daughter was like, "Oh no, Naruto is just very strong." And then she was like, "I thought Naruto was a weakling." And Naruto was like, "Weakling, you say?" And then Naruto was in her face. And then she was like, "How did you get here so fast?" And Naruto said, "I teleported." And she was like, "What?" And Naruto said, "Nothing." And he said, "Now get out of my house." And then Hashirama's daughter was like, "We were just talking about tea. We were just talking some tea, Naruto. Let her stay." Naruto said, Okay, if you want her to stay. And then Naruto went to his room, and this is where I'm gonna end it off. This is where I'm gonna end it off. And yeah, like, subscribe. I didn't really do my intro. Like, I really didn't say all of this, but like, subscribe, and check out my brother's channel, Reese Waters. He's not like really posting right now. He did post this video, but he deleted it. But check out my gaming channel, Sir Claps, and know what I'm gonna say. Peace.